Welcome back to the Hit Home Podcast. I'm Natalie Hashka, city girl turned entrepreneur who turned a big dream and a bold house flip into a thriving real estate brand, hitting my first six figures in my 20s. This is where we get raw and real, because life, entrepreneurship, and unapologetic womanhood deserve nothing less. I'm navigating life as a strong, independent woman who refuses to shrink, settle, or conform. And if that's you too, then you're in the right place. From personal growth and pop culture to behind the scenes real estate truths, no topic is off limits. I'm so glad you're here. Get ready for unfiltered stories, big laughs, and connections that will seriously hit home. Let's dive in. Hey. What's up, y'all? What's up, homies? Okay, I'm back today, and we are going to be doing an episode on mindset. It did well for us in a previous season. And honestly, like when I'm talking with my girls, I feel like mindset is a real mind fuck. Like I feel like this is one thing that can really mess people up. You know, you can be doing so well and just have like one little hiccup and you can start doubting yourself. And then you go down that slippery slope and then you're like dumpster fire. And I just feel like it's all downhill from there. And I think that mindset is like a daily practice. So we're going to do a dive into a bunch of different things here. And yeah, let's do it. I mean, like, I think the first thing is that, you know, when I think back on all of my therapy, my doctor always said, like, be kind to yourself. And, you know, we practice self-talk. And I know my therapist would always tell me, like, when you're driving, practice your self-talk. And you fucking seem crazy. I was like, what the fuck? I'm just going to, like, drive and talk to myself. But I would. And she was like, talk to yourself the way you would talk to a friend. And we would have like different catchphrases and I would like repeat them like a mantra to myself, right? And so I think having a mantra or, you know, a daily kind of quote that you repeat to yourself is probably a good idea. I feel like it would set the tone for the day for the majority of people. And I feel like it would just be like a nice like high five. Like, you got this, bitch. You a badass bitch today, you know? Because not everybody has someone in their corner, or not everybody feels comfortable talking about their problems, especially men. Men internalize things and they don't really want to put that burden on people. And so I really think that mind space and that self-talk is important. Now, for me, mindset came into play like really early on. Like I was hella young. And I think the first thing for me where mindset came into play with my visualization was when I was young and overweight. And I would like literally look at TV at these actresses and celebrities, or I'd fucking close my eyes and I would envision myself and how I would look, like what I would look like thin, what I would look like in a bathing suit, what I would look like if I walked into a room in like X dress and with these heels on, and what like men would think or what my ex would think if he was in the room, you know? And for me, visualization started that young, truly. I could like see it. I could taste it, what it would be like to be beautiful, what it would be like to be a normal weight. And then as I got older, I remember working for this one plastic surgeon in a very like high-end, bougie, elaborate area. And I would drive home, and you could either take like the city route, which was a little longer, or you could take the highway. And to work, I would take the highway, obvi. But going home, especially like in the summer, I'd put my sunroof down and I would just like cruise through the back streets. And I'd cruise through all these fucking neighborhoods of these like mansions and big ass houses. And they were all custom and beautiful and perfect. And I would be like, that's what I'm going to have. That's where I'm going to fucking live. I'm going to make enough money that I could live in this particular area and drive this car. And again, it was all about visualizing it. I could see it. I could taste it. I could feel it. I could smell it. It was like just a stone throw away. It felt like so close to me. And so I think like mindset in general is the key to everything. I think it all starts and ends in the mind. And I think a lot of this stuff comes from, like, especially confidence, I feel like comes from doing hard things and overcoming them. Like, a lot of people will comment on my confidence. They'll say, like, you're so confident. How did you get so confident? How do you literally not give a shit and have zero fucks? And I mean, it took me a long time to get here, first of all. My mom says that she's so happy that I got here sooner than she got here. It took her until her like mid-50s to get there. And I got here a lot sooner. I don't really know how I got here, but I think that when you go into business and you're self-employed and you're an entrepreneur, I think you really have to learn to not give a fuck, because you have to have like thick skin and a tough gut to do what we do as an entrepreneur, because everybody's got a fucking opinion. You know, that famous Kardashian line, Khloe Kardashian said it. Everybody's got an opinion like an asshole, and they do. And there's going to be more people that hate on you and talk shit than support you and clap for you. So you can't worry about like other people, you know? And truthfully, for me, it was just overcoming adversity. Like, nothing has been easy in my life. I don't play the victim card at all. I consider myself a survivor. I'm a tough girl, and I'm proud of that. Things are thrown at me, and you just fucking figure it out, and you overcome them, and you come back stronger, you come back wiser, you come back better. And I think challenging yourself is important to overcome adversity and to be confident. Like, doing something hard and finishing it, doing something hard and realizing you can do it makes you fucking confident, because you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, I did that, you know? And you high five yourself, and then you're like, I bet I could do this. And then you feel unstoppable and you want to do like the next thing. And, you know, manifestation, that word came into play, I feel like, later. I feel like it's just like a modern term for visualization. Truthfully, I think they're the exact same shit. You manifest it or you visualize it, regardless of the term that you use. You know, I'm a firm believer that like you visualize it, you manifest it. I believe in prayer though. But like the biggest thing is, and I've said this before, is that you also have to do the work. Nothing comes to the people who just sit there and pray or sit there and manifest. You need to couple it with the work. Like, synergistically, you need the manifestation and then you need the action together. That's how that works. And one without the other, I feel like it's not going to exist. I feel like you're not going to be able to get to the end game if one of those two pieces are lacking. So your mindset is like a set of beliefs, right? They shape how you think and how you make sense of the world and yourself. I think that our mindset or our beliefs influence how we think, how we feel, how we behave in any given situation. I think it makes us believe what we think and feel about ourselves too. And then that impacts your success or failure, because then that's a story that you tell yourself. And we all tell ourselves a story. We do. We all have a story. We all tell it to ourselves like a bedtime motherfucking story. And we repeat that story. We put it on replay, rewind, and play. Everybody does. We have a story that we tell ourselves, and it usually comes from childhood. It's usually limiting beliefs that are put on ourselves, and those come from society. They're not from us. And you have to also remember that. Ready to make a move in the GTHA? Let's make it happen together. I'd love to help you find your perfect place. Not in the area, but still in Canada? No worries. I've got connections coast to coast. Send me a message and I'll point you in the right direction. And if you've been eyeing the things I share on Instagram, treat yourself. All the links to my Shop My page are waiting for you in the show notes below. Go take a peek and grab your faves. Happy shopping. So what is manifestation exactly? I mean, I'm sure you all know, but like maybe let's cover that quickly. So manifestation like typically refers to bringing something from an idea or thought into reality. So like what I would say into fruition. So it involves your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs that shape one's desired outcomes. Some approaches to manifestation lean like towards spiritual stuff though, and like metaphysical ideas. And there's a growing body of work exploring like scientific aspects of how our thoughts and actions can also influence reality. So that's something definitely I think to note when it comes to that. But like your mindset can influence like how people behave in a wide range of situations in life and how they encounter different situations, like how their mind is triggered. And then how that directly impacts behavior in that situation or in life. So let's talk about mindset, like fixed versus growth. And, you know, this is something that I really wasn't aware of because you only know what you know in life. And then you start doing this research and you go into therapy and you start hearing these terms. And then you start doing your own research and you're like, oh, okay. Got it. So let's talk about like fixed versus growth mindset, because those are your two basic mindsets. And if you have a fixed mindset, you believe that your abilities are like fixed traits. So you can't be changed. You might also believe that your talents or like your intelligence alone lead to success and effort is not required at all. On the flip side, if you've got a growth mindset, which is where I fall into, and I didn't even know this until later in life, basically a growth mindset is, you know, when you believe your talents and abilities can be developed over time through effort, persistence, and practice. So people typically with this mindset don't necessarily believe that anyone can become Einstein, but that everyone can get smarter or more talented if they work at it. And like, here's the thing. I never thought I was overly attractive. I came from nothing. We came from like no money. I never thought I was smart, but I fucking applied myself. I studied hard. I did my homework. When I was like young and overweight, I developed my personality so that I would be funny and a great conversationalist. And I learned how to do my hair and my makeup and like paint my nails. Thank God that my mother showed me how to dress. And so I feel like you can develop these things over time and work at it. You know, how is your mindset created in the first place? Like there's so many different thoughts on this, but typically research reveals that two primary sources are praising and labeling, both of which occur in early childhood. So this shit stems from our parents, which is not a surprise, obviously. And, you know, I remember when my sister had her children, and I can't really tell you why, but I was like, let's not praise them on their looks, because we grew up in a household where we were always praised on our looks. And they would always be like, well, you're such a pretty girl if you just lost some weight. Or, you know, you're such a pretty girl, but you'd be even prettier if you were just skinny. And so I never fucking felt good enough. But I had all these other qualities about me that were like amazeballs, but nobody fucking commented on that I was a great person or that I was great at math or that I helped the fucking kid up that got bullied at school and like scraped their knee. It was just that I was fat and that I could be prettier if, you know? So when my sister had her kids, I was like, why don't we not focus on like complimenting their looks? Why don't we focus on the qualities of the person that they are? And everyone kind of looked at me crazy. But now they're starting to see the outcome of that. So the impact of praise in a series of experiments was found that kids behaved very differently depending on the type of praise they receive. They found that personal praise, or praising a child's talent or labeling them as smart, promotes a fixed mindset. It sends a message to a child that they either have an ability or they don't, and that there is nothing they can do to change that. So it ends up being like very black or white when you praise a child. So, when you process praise, on the other hand, it's emphasizing the effort a person puts into an accomplishment, into a task. It implies their success is due to the effort and not the actual strategy that they used, both of which they can control and improve over time. So, there is obviously, praising in general, but then process praising is a whole different story. So adults can take steps to ensure that their children develop growth mindsets by praising efforts, not the results, by focusing on the process, so that process praising, by praising efforts, not results, rather than the outcome. Adults can help kids understand that their efforts, hard work, and dedication can also lead to change, learning, and growth both now and in the future. Now, can you unfix a fixed mindset? That's like a whole other story. And I mean, again, like I didn't really know much about this until I did my own therapy. So while people with like a fixed mindset might not agree, it is suggested that people are capable of changing their mindsets. So if you can focus on the journey, an important factor when building a growth mindset is seeing the value in the journey. When you're fixated on the end result, you miss out on all the things you could be learning. The thing that I relate this to is working out. It's fucking delayed gratification, right? So that's the one thing about working out for me and what it's taught me and what it teaches so many people. And I think why so many people stop so early in the process is because you don't see the results early on in the acute phase. It's like day in and day out, small changes over time. And then one day you look in the mirror and you're like, okay, I'm a different person. It's that delayed gratification. So enjoying the journey instead of just like, oh, I want to lose 20 pounds, or when I get to 20 pounds, I'll go buy myself a new wardrobe. And that's how you reward yourself. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey of who you're becoming in the process of getting there and what it teaches you. Incorporating the word yet. So if you're struggling with a task, remind yourself that you just haven't mastered it yet. This integration, like this word that you can integrate into your vocabulary, signals that despite whatever's going on in your life, you can overcome anything and that it will happen, right? So it's that positive thought that it's just not there yet, but it's going to happen. And paying attention to your words and your thoughts. So replace negative thoughts with more positive ones. And that goes back to my therapist with the self-talk and, having that quote or that mantra that you would repeat to yourself every day. And then taking on challenges, which we already talked about. Taking on challenges is a huge one. Making mistakes is one of the best ways to learn. So instead of shying away from things, get excited. Try new things, embrace them, and fail. Pick yourself up and continue. And I think that's the one thing about entrepreneurs is like we do it and we fix it and we learn along the way. Like no entrepreneur knows how to do everything. We're just usually like creative, or we have a certain talent and a passion, and it inspires you to do something and you learn along the way. You don't have shit figured out in the beginning. You don't know how to do half the stuff it takes to run a business, but you're like, I'll figure it out. And we just pick ourselves up and we just mosey on after each mistake we make. And we don't allow those mistakes to define ourselves. So getting into how mindset and confidence plays all together. So, the majority of us obviously want to be more confident and could benefit from being more confident. And confidence really is about like feeling that feeling of trust in your abilities and your qualities and your judgment too, like making a judgment call, right? Like making a decision and just like being able to make that decision and not question yourself and not look back. You made it and just move forward, you know? So self-confidence is described as a belief that one is capable of successfully meeting the demands of a task. It can refer to like a general sense of trust in your ability or a control over your life or like a situation, like a specific situation. And you might have a high self-confidence in like one particular area of expertise, but then feel less confident in other areas of your life. And that's totally normal and healthy. Help us spread the love one home at a time. And if you enjoyed this episode, please rate, review, and share the podcast. It means so much and it might just make someone else's day. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you want to keep in touch, come say hi on Instagram at @TheRealNat. So let's talk about some ways to be more confident. You can stop comparing yourself to others. So, one of the things for me is like, I think the biggest misconception because I live in my stories is that I spend a lot of time on social media, and I don't. I create, I don't consume. Social media is not good for my mental health. I only follow certain accounts and my feed is of certain things because those thoughts fill your head and those thoughts consume your space. And for me, I can't have like toxic stuff or negative stuff in my head. So I never compare myself. My journey is not the same. And when I had my car accident, my therapist always reminded me. She was like, stop comparing yourself to the other realtors in your office. They didn't have a head-on collision. They weren't off work for 16 months. They could not, they could continue building their business. You couldn't while you were rehabbing in a hospital bed. And so I had to really take myself out of that because I typically don't compare myself to people, but there was a short period of time in my life where I was comparing myself to people. And I was angry at what had happened to me, So I think that's a big one. Like, stop looking at people on social media and comparing yourself, whether that's salary, whether that's looks, whether it's trips, whatever you're doing. And I think if you do this, it'll likely help boost your self-confidence and just focus on yourself. If you're envious of someone else's life, I would say reflect on your own strengths and your own successes and maybe keep like a gratitude journal because that'll help you in areas of your life where you're feeling blessed as opposed to focusing on the things that you're lacking, right? The other thing I would say is probably, for me, that's made a huge impact is like surround yourself with good people, positive people. There's a saying that we are the sum of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And I honestly think this is true. I have so many friends and every time I bring people together, everyone's like, you have like the best friends. You've got like the best group of women around you. And it's because I'm very specific of who I exchange energy with and who I let into my life and into my circle. And I'm super protective of that. And it's going to sound, douchey, but like it is a privilege if you get access to me because I don't believe that everyone should have access to me. I think that's something I need to protect is my energy with my boundaries. All of us need to do that, not just me. And you shouldn't be available to everybody. That's not how it works. So I think, your friends will make you feel a certain way. Do they lift you up? Do they bring you down? Are they constantly judging you? Do you feel like they're accepting you for who you are? And so the people that we spend time with can influence us. They can influence our thoughts and our attitudes about ourselves, and definitely way more than you realize. They have so much influence on way more than you realize. So I would say pay attention to how other people make you feel. And if you have like a interaction with someone or an experience and you walk away feeling bad about yourself or bad about a particular area of your life, I would say it's time to say goodbye. Like it's not really worth it, Okay, the next one, taking care of your body. This is like a non-negotiable for me. That is a promise and commitment that I keep to myself. And if I can't show up for myself and keep the promises and the commitments I make to myself, how the heck am I supposed to show up for anybody else? you know? It's that whole fill your cup theory. I need to fill my cup before I can give to others. It's putting on your mask in the airplane before you help somebody else. So a big one for being more confident is just like the idea that it's, hard to feel good about yourself if you're abusing your body and if you're not taking care of your body, which to me is like your temple. We get one body and it's going to be around longer than any handbag, any car, any house that we purchase. So like take care of it, practice self-care. When you're doing something positive for your mind and your body and your spirit, you naturally feel more confident. That's why people will be like, oh, when I work out, it's so easy to eat well because I just worked out. So like, I don't want to go eat fast food. Well, yeah, it makes sense, So eating healthy comes with so many benefits, but like higher confidence and self-esteem and like what you fuel your body with, nutrient-dense foods, they make you feel better. They make you feel healthier and stronger and more energized. So to me, like, I think we are what we eat. Exercising, just moving your body. And this consistently shows that like physical exercise boosts self-confidence. There are studies behind this. So the one major study found that working out was a huge, huge result in body image. So I feel like no matter what you do, even if you're just getting a step count every day of 10,000 steps, move your body. Have the goal to move your body. We are not meant to be sedentary. And like being sedentary is the new smoking of our generation. The next one, meditation, which of course takes us back to the mindset and the mind work, right? So meditation is like not hocus pocus. It's so much more than a relaxation practice. It can help boost self-confidence in so many different ways, but it helps you like recognize behaviors. It helps you accept yourself. It teaches you to stop that negative self-talk, right? And have the positive self-talk that we talked about. It helps you disconnect from chaos and the chaotic world. And it helps like that mental chatter that interferes with your confidence. So if you haven't tried meditating, try it. There's so many apps out there. It can be in the beginning of your day. It can be at the end of the day before you go to bed when you're journaling. But, just try a few moments of it. I feel like it would like really help clear your headspace. Sleep is a big one. And this is something that I've been practicing, and it was a piece I was missing for so damn long. So your sleep or lack thereof can take a toll on your emotions, your eating habits, your weight, your cravings, so many things. So having good quality sleep has been linked with positive personality traits, optimism, and self-esteem. Everyone should be getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep, especially if you're working out, especially if you're trying to build muscle. Like you need 7 to 9 hours for recovery and growth hormone and lactic acid release. I was missing this piece for so long. And I thought that I was like this like trooper. I was like, woohoo, went on 4 hours of sleep. I'm a badass. Watch me do it all. And then I was like, why am I not gaining in the gym? And like, why am I craving sugary food? And why am I so moody? And it's all linked to poor sleep. Being kind to yourself, self-compassion, treating yourself with kindness. If you make a mistake, if you fail, if you experience a setback, these things are all normal. And like you need to be emotionally flexible to be able to bounce back and snap back like a rubber band, right? Just keep moving forward. You can't drive forward looking in the rearview mirror. Practicing your positive self-talk, that's the same with our mindset that we talked about earlier. So that negative self-talk, that story that we all tell each other, that can limit our abilities and lessen your self-confidence because you're basically like convincing yourself and your self-conscious that you can't handle it, that you can't do it. That's too hard. I shouldn't even bother trying. I can't get that. I couldn't do that. So think of your self-talk as being like optimistic on the other hand, fostering self-compassion and self-doubt. That's one thing that was big for me. And I still relapse. Doesn't matter that I'm an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter that I'm confident. It doesn't matter. I still struggle from time to time with self-doubt. and I have to walk myself through it. And I catch myself early on, and I'm just like, you can't do this, Nat. You got this. Facing your fears. So I don't really let my fears control me, but a lot of people do. So I think a lot of confidence comes from not allowing your fears to control you and facing them. And a lot of people will find that their lack of self-confidence comes from not facing their fears, right? Like you'll embarrass yourself or you think you're going to mess up. Who cares? Try it anyway. And having a little self-doubt is normal and it helps improve performance, right? So just tell yourself that it's just an experiment, like see what happens and do what makes you scared. Like approach the things that make you afraid in life. Don't let yourself shy away from those things. Because if anything, you're going to do them and you're just going to feel like a badass. On the flip side, do the things you're good at. That helps people develop confidence every day. If you know that you're good at a particular area, at work, at home, whatever it is, do it. Because it helps you believe in yourself. And it will increase how satisfied you are with your life and give you confidence to try or do other things. Because we're all good at something. All of us have talents. All of us are good at something. All of us have weaknesses though too. Knowing when to say no. This is a big one too, right? Boundaries. So while doing things that you're good at can give you self-confidence and a boost, it's equally important to recognize situations that cause it to plummet. So maybe you find that every time you participate in a certain activity or you see a certain person, you feel worse about yourself. So saying no, every time you say no, you're saying yes to yourself. Okay? Repeat that. Every time you say no, you're saying yes to yourself. So saying no to activities that tend to like zap your self-confidence is okay. And no is an answer. You don't need to explain yourself. I still have to remind myself of that. No is no. You know, you don't want to avoid doing anything that makes you feel uncomfortable because discomfort is often part of our personal growth process. But at the same time, there's something wrong with knowing your but there's nothing wrong, with knowing your boundaries and sticking to them. So just remember that. Every time you say no is a yes to you, and there's nothing wrong with knowing what your boundaries are and sticking to them. And I've said this in previous episodes. My therapist always told me it is not the job of other people to respect our boundaries. It's my job to enforce them. And she's so right. I can't expect other people to respect my boundaries, but I can enforce them, and I will enforce them. Those are my boundaries. So that's something to also know when it comes to boundaries, because boundaries are hard. It took me a really long time. And even once you're good at having boundaries and you've created them, that's a daily practice to let people know what you will and will not tolerate, right? Setting social and emotional boundaries, they enable you to feel safe. It can help you feel more in control. And self-confidence is in part feeling like you have control over your life, right? Boundaries help establish this feeling of being in control. When you're too available to people, people naturally don't see your value. When there's a bit of scarcity, like exclusivity, or like a demand, then people perceive you as valuable. And I always use the analogy of like a service industry, right? Like if you can just like call up a restaurant and get a reservation at any time, any night of the week, you're like, it's probably not a hot spot. But if there's a waiting list, you're like, oh, that is the place to be. Girl, we better get on the list. We can't get in for a few weeks. And then you look at the place and you think that there's value there. Same thing goes with like nails and a hairstylist. I can't tell you, I've had to pre-book my nail appointment for years in advance. They open up their calendar for 3 to 4 months. You book and they're full. So just remember that last part is something I think that is really important. And I'm going to read it again. okay? When you're too available, people naturally don't see your value. When there's a bit of scarcity, exclusivity, or demand, then they perceive you as valuable. Setting realistic goals. This is another one, right? Pursuing your goals is big, but it involves like failing. And it's one of those things where it can also leave you questioning how to be more confident while still achieving your dreams. But it's about setting realistic goals, right? Like you can't set a goal that is unattainable. It's got to be realistic so that you can actually meet that goal. So setting high reaching goals and failing to achieve them has been found to damage people's self-confidence levels. Conversely, realistic goals are achievable. And the more you achieve your goals, the greater your confidence is in yourself and your abilities. So to set a realistic goals, write it down. Write what you want to achieve. Maybe tell someone so they can hold you accountable or you feel like you're being held accountable. And ask yourself what the chance you have of obtaining that goal. And be honest with yourself. If the answer is like slim to none, then it might be a little too lofty. And like dial it back a notch. Just make it realistic and achievable so that there's actually a chance of you reaching that goal. Because if you can reach that goal, it's going to build confidence where you'll want to take on something else and you won't be afraid. So being more confident has so many benefits, and let's just wrap up here with a few for the day. Being confident in yourself just feels good. Having self-confidence can also bring many additional benefits at home, at work, and with your relationships. So let's take a look at some of the areas in your life of how they would benefit you. So better performance, rather than wasting time and energy and worrying that you're not good enough, you can devote your energy to your efforts. You'll perform better and you'll have more self-confidence. Okay, so being more confident is going to give you better performance. You're going to have healthier relationships with the people around you. And this is something that I have seen with others, and I can attest to this. I mean, you can generally just look at somebody and see how they are with the majority of people in their life. And you're just like, okay, it all makes sense now, So having self-confidence not only impacts how you feel about yourself, but it helps you better understand others. It helps you better love others. It gives you the strength to walk away from relationships if you're not getting what you want, what you deserve, or what you need, right? It allows you to see and have an openness to try new things. There's like that curiosity. And a friend of mine says like, you're always trying new things. You're always tackling new things. And I don't see myself like that, but fuck, she's right. And I'm not afraid to try new things. So like when you believe in yourself, you're more willing to try new things, whether you apply for a promotion at work, or you sign up for like a class. For me, a dance class. It could be a cooking class for you, an art class, whatever it is. Just putting yourself out there, though, becomes a lot easier when you have confidence in yourself and your abilities. And the last thing is that, being more confident is going to give you resilience. It's going to build resilience. Believing in yourself can enhance your resilience and your ability to bounce back from any challenge or adversity that you face in your life. And truthfully, that's what it's all about, because there are going to be setbacks. And so it's just learning how to come back from those and just knowing that we are going to experience them. We just don't know when they're going to come and how big or how small. So being resilient is so important in life, right? I hope you guys took something away from today's episode. I know mindset is huge for me. It's been such a pivotal piece to where I've gotten to. And it's a daily practice for me on the days that I doubt myself and don't feel good enough, because no matter what, there are days I still doubt myself and don't feel good enough. And we all get those days. So less mind fuck, more mindset. And I hope you took some notes. I hope you took some good takeaways from today. And until next time, thanks for being with me here today, guys. Exonat. Bye. That's a wrap. Consider this episode officially tied with a bow. Thanks for hanging out today as we got real, raw, and unfiltered about life, womanhood, and everything in between. If this episode hit home for you, tap those stars, subscribe, and make sure you don't miss the next one. Remember, we're here for real conversations and raw connections. So don't stop here. Come find me on Instagram @TheRealNat and say hey. Loved this episode? Share it and tag me. I love seeing what resonates with you, and it helps me keep the free content coming. Until next time, on the podcast that always feels like home.